A very good evening and Happy New Year. Happy 2015 to the viewers of the Fourth Estate. Charles Mwangu Shampagi. This is our maiden show in this new year, and we'll be taking a look at the political perspective of the year 2015, of course, building from what we saw in the year 2014. Let me introduce my colleagues. Let me start with Chris Obore. Chris, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Charles.
And welcome back from Bukedea.
From Teso.
From Teso.
If you say Bukedea, they are limiting me. I'm an Etesot, who's unpretentious, original, undilutable Etesot.
Etesot.
Not ashamed to say I am one. So confident in saying so.
You spent the weekend in Teso, so tell us what you're doing there.
I'm actually fresh. My Tesoness
has been
reinvigorated.
Chris needs no more introduction. Hussein Rugaba Kashirinji is an advocate and was a lawyer on the National Resistance Movement side in the just concluded NRM versus NRM, the Boniface Alipanga petition challenging the NRM resolutions. Happy New Year and welcome to the Fourth Estate.
Thank you, Charles.
I think we're hosting you for the first time. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Very nice to have you here. And Onapito Ekomoloit, Corporate Affairs Director of Marabou is SAB Miller. We prefer to introduce you as a senior journalist. Very nice to have you.
Happy New Year, Charles. And keeping me here at this hour is a bit risking my family peace because today is the birthday for my wife.
So happy birthday, Kathy.
Oh, Kathy, happy
birthday.
But we forgot to say Hussein is going to be robbed in the main petition of Alipanga.
So it was the application that was decided
but in the main petition
by Justice Kamu.
He's going to be robbed on the defendant's side. Am I lying?
The respondent.
The respondent.
Let's actually start from there. What does this NRM versus NRM battle in court? It's a subject we've been debating since February last year. Ona, you watch politics, you reported politics, you served in the office of the president. What should we make out of this drama that stand in court to try and stop the NRM resolutions?
Well, I'm happy to be here with my old friend from State House, Charles. I mean, Hussein, so he knows better what is really going on. But I'm not surprised that this is how it's going because both the president and Amama Mbabazi are political animals. I think they have spent the better part of their lives in politics, and I don't think Amama Mbabazi is just going to get out of the center quietly. So you are going to see more challenges in court, and I think Mbabazi is a master of the court system. Whether he wins, whether he loses, if he's using other people, and I'm sure there are people out there who are going to think what happened in Nambole was not fair, and they need to fight back. So we are likely to witness more excitement into 15.
Let me first jump to Chris briefly. Chris, people who play cards, people have this tendency to pack up. I don't know what they call, what the language is.
Unpack.
The jazz, no, the jazz, those ones that can be played together. And someone might hold those cards together, and then someone drops a card that ends the game by, they call it cutting the game or something. I don't know what the technical word is. People have been waiting for Amama Mbabazi to come out with this masterstroke since February last year. Every time we have had an Amama discussion, people have said, just wait, something big is about to be announced. Just wait, something big. It's a year now. It will be actually a year next month since the Changwanzi resolutions. And that MasterCard hasn't been dropped. And someone is losing the game, and people are asking, what have we been waiting for? Is there something we should, his supporters, Ugandans, the worried supporters of President Museveni, the opposition that has been waiting to see how this NRM struggle gets resolved so that they can position themselves. Is there something to still wait for?
I think we have many times talked over and over about that thing. But we shall use the intelligence principle. They need to know. So we cannot, maybe Amama Mbabazi is playing that principle. Who needs to know what and how should they know? So let's not conclude by saying that doesn't have any card remaining until the game is over. But so far, Amama Mbabazi has an upper edge on the propaganda axis compared to the system. You know how he is kept himself in the media for nearly a year. And you know what the media is world over. To be able to sustain headlines for 1 year is not a mini task. It means there is something about that person. It may not amount to the change that you want, but doesn't discount that the person has some abilities. So that's where we can give him some credit that Amama Mbabazi has sustained himself. Whatever comes, Sejusa will come, this will come, will go. Amama Mbabazi is back to the limelight, at least in the media. That in the political analysis, you have to go down and look at why. The obvious thing is people will say, you know, of course, you had the PR machinery, he built it, but even the ability to build it alone is a strength. So, but even the media would get apathy already. But there is no media apathy on this man, even with this silence. So the Kashilingis have to think and not stop at just saying, you know, he hired the PR firm. By the time he hired it, then the PR firm did something better. The other thing we can, I'm looking at this, still is, you know, my position on Amama Mbabazi. It may not amount to anything, but I'm looking at it very, very objectively. That Amama Mbabazi, I think, has resolved to push NRM and Museveni to the limit. That even if he's going to be vanquished, he will not be vanquished alone. And by the time you vanquish him, you also emerge with a lot of, you need time to get back to normal life. Because the battle would have been so intense. I think that he's doing. As they are making these alliances, he's pushing. He's pushing the system, he's pushing, either manage to break it, or at least by the time they break him, the system is also weak to start being lively. It will take a year or two for it to shed off the Mbabazi impact. That's what I'm thinking is starting to
Hussein, what do you make of this? You've been watching it. I know you have a position on this, and you've served both. You've served the president, you've served government, and you're on the legal team that is defending the national resistance movement versus what people believe is Amama Mbabazi through Boniface Alipanga. Benjamin Alipanga, rather. Is there something, not the legal now, the politics of it? What exactly is going on? 11 months is not a short time for somebody to have said nothing about the ambition, but also sustain a media attention like he has been given over a year.
First of all, I think that largely the crisis has been created by the media. Because all of us know the person of the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi. He's very articulate, he's very intelligent, he's a confidant of the president, he's been with the president, they've worked together for over 40 years. And in all this that we call a crisis, he has not said anything. We have of course said he's speaking through different people, but he has not said anything. In fact, to the extent that even when Severino Twinobusinje purported to be acting for him and said, come 1st January, Honorable Mbabazi is going to plot 10 Chadondo to take office as Secretary General. When you asked him, the press in Kanungu, you still Secretary General? He said no comment. He said no comment. But someone is speaking for him and saying, no, he's going there, he's doing this. But Honorable Amama Mbabazi is not the kind of person to sit and send emissaries to keep speaking for him. In court, we are not, it's not Amama Mbabazi that we are with Benjamin Alipanga. If, for example, Amama Mbabazi was aggrieved by what happened in Chankwanzi, it happened over a year ago. He has not said anything. He has not publicly come out to say, I do not associate myself with what happened. What happened in Chankwanzi was a meeting of the Parliamentary Caucus, which is an organ of the National Resistance Movement. Honorable Amama Mbabazi, by virtue of being an NRM MP, is a member. The resolutions that were done in Chankwanzi bind him. He has not said anything about them.
It has been challenged, and for all that we know,
But
it's
not
been
by-
challenged
but not
in
by
his
Amama
name.
Mbabazi.
People believe it has been challenged in his name. Honor, you have the most years in the media. You've reported, you've edited, you've managed a newspaper, and you've been in the media for longer than all of us here. The media doesn't just follow a story that is not a story, because the media doesn't do affirmative action. The media can't have been doing affirmative action for Amama Mbabazi. There must be something that makes this story, actually it's not the media, it is the people buying the media that make this story an important story. What is it about this story that nobody can seem to crack the code of the story?
I think what Hussein has said is part of it, that until when there is a word, final word from Amama Mbabazi, either I'm in or I'm out in terms of the presidential race, the assumption is that he's in, because we have not known him to play any other life since the 70s. As I said earlier, he's a politician. So how do you now expect the media to let this story just die if there is no evidence that Mbabazi is not in? And I also think the people on the president's side are not helping the story from dying, because they are also talking, you know. In fact, this is an industry now, and it's not about to end. There are people who are going to make sure this conflict between Mbabazi and the president stays alive.
Why?
Because
what is the benefit?
they are milking publicity, they are milking some other gains out of it. So it's something which they are vested interest in it.
Can I expound
And
on what
also
Ola is
because
saying?
of the position Mbabazi has held
Yes.
with the president. It's an envied position, so many people would want to occupy it.
So the takeaways, the quick takeaways, Chris, are that one, there is a problem between Museveni and Amama Mbabazi. Two is Mbabazi has refused to comment, at least publicly or as an individual. He has refused to take a position. Three is that we have seen people whom we know to be associated with him take positions. But what is that code we have failed to crack? There have been many stories. When Sejusa ran out in April 2013, after a few stories, people said, this is a no-starter. This is a non-starter. The story ended. The other day he made a return, made a few headlines, and people seem to have been already able to move on. What is it about Mbabazi that people can't move on with the story? Either dismiss him conclusively or affirm his position conclusively and then be able to move to the next stage.
Since we are offering an analysis of events and not my personal view about Mbabazi, which you have made it very open, we need to help those who have taken time to listen to us separate my personal opinion and my interpretation of the events happening.
Sure.
So my interpretation of these events are that, one, I think those pro-Museveni are trying to explain more about Mbabazi than they would be explaining more about Museveni. That's why you hear even Hussein comes and says, you know, Mbabazi is an intelligent man, Mbabazi is, you know, this smart man. Now, it is NRM wooing Mbabazi. That's why you see, even in SEC, it is Museveni wooing Mbabazi. That I want you in the SEC. And somebody tells you he's even campaigning for him to be in the SEC. But you're the very man who campaigned to get him out of office. So you realize that, why are you spending time explaining to us how good Mbabazi, how intelligent Mbabazi is, how smart he is, the same views we are getting from pro-Mbabazi people. That means there is a trouble within the pro-Museveni group, that they are not even confident of themselves to be explaining their mission, what they want to move on. They are spending time explaining how the president still loves Mbabazi, how the two have known each other for long, they are not helping the story to die out. And if you look at the
question is why?
I'm asking, because far from saying his no comment is what, you can say anything, but his no comment, being an intelligence operative, I've given you the basic principle in intelligence. They needed to know who needs to know what, at what time, through who, by what means. So maybe by saying no comment, he does not want you and me, whom he has no trust in, to know what he thinks. Maybe those with whom he plans. Because you know politics has different zones. Politics closed doors is the actual meaning of politics. Politics outside closed doors in the rallies is propaganda. So for now, he has left the propaganda to be done by his ADs. But he's playing the closed door politics. That does not mean either he's strong or he's weak. Until we get to know finally what he has made known. So what I'm saying, what I'm analyzing here is, even the SEC meeting, you find there was a vote. The very Mbabazi they say has been rejected. To me, to the contrary, even getting 111 votes should signal trouble. And this is not a man rejected.
Was that because of the president campaign for him?
No, first of all, this was a hostile gathering.
Okay.
Remember, in Nambole, the same man didn't get any vote except his wife.
We need to take a break.
But in the SEC, he gets 111. So what should that be teaching Hussein Kasilingi?
Hussein wanted to say something just before you came in. So Hussein, can you make your point and then we'll take a quick break?
Chris says we are spending a lot of time talking about the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi and not talking about the president. I'm surprised you expect us to be telling Ugandans who President Museveni is after 29 years in power. Museveni needs no introduction.
Oh, he shouldn't be campaigning even.
No, we are not even.
There's no billboards.
But we are not even campaigning. We are not in campaigning.
CC is complaining of billboards you put up. Why do you need billboards after 30 years in the power, Hussein? That one is self-defeating, Hussein.
In fact,
it means there is a problem.
Gentlemen, we need to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll dig deeper into this question. Amama Mbabazi lost a vote to become a member of SEC, out of which he had been pushed out. The events of the last 1 year pushed Mbabazi out of the Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement, and in its reconstruction, President Yoweri Museveni, who's the chairman of the NRM, proposed his name. Others wanted it removed completely, but it went to the vote and he lost, scoring 111 votes. The winner was Kahindo Tafira, who was not part of the original list, who got 508 votes. We'll pick up with this discussion after a short break. We'll be right back. You're still watching The Fourth Estate, the first edition of The Fourth Estate in the year 2015, and the story that is continuing. We're trying to make, to put into perspective the year 2015 from the events of the year 2012. The opposition has been largely absent from the political discourse over the year, as attention has been largely focused on President Yoweri Museveni and long-time confidant, former Prime Minister, former Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, Amama Mbabazi. He's now just a member of parliament representing Chinchizi West constituency in parliament after being stripped of the other positions. He was rejected just this last week from being a member of the Central Executive Committee, even after President Museveni
was not rejected. He lost a vote.
He lost an election.
The vote
in the discussion
in which he did not campaign.
Yes, in the last...
The campaigner was President Museveni.
In the discussion in NEC, they said...
Nobody campaigned.
Even remove the name. Honor. You are the only person in the studio who has won an election and lost an election. you and Hussein have served the president, but you have been a journalist, he's a lawyer.
But I also won an election. I was a youth leader in Mbale municipality.
I'm looking at a national election.
It was a national election.
No, that wasn't. Honor, with the Ugandan population, with our attitudes towards election and what wins an election or what makes one lose an election, the approach Amama Mbabazi has used, does it win him favors? Is it one that can sustain, especially elite, working class, people who possibly are believed to influence opinion in the countryside, especially if you are dealing with a campaign machinery like the one of President Yoweri Museveni?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword for him. On one hand, it may appear like he's not strong, he's a coward, he's not decisive. But again, this protracted publicity around him, of course, is a branding, a cost-free branding. So if he now decided to announce that he wants to run, he has instant name recognition across the country. And of course, there are people who have been supporting him when he was still Secretary General. I'm sure some of them will stand up. I believe he also has some bit of money. So the nomination process has not started, it has not closed. I think those who support him and are despairing might actually be tactless. For him, I think he knows that exposing yourself early means, one, you can be targeted by both your opponents, but also your supporters will make a run on you, start asking for money, and so you need to have a bit of surprise. You know?
And when
so
you
in terms
that
of surprise, he could actually be doing the right thing.
Regardless of the opposition he faces, which in this case would be primarily Yoweri Museveni?
Yeah, because that opposition, I think basically sort of pulled that kind of surprise, and it helped him previously, whereby you are not known. So the full resources will come in when perhaps it's too late, and there's a bit of disarray in the opposition camp. So, and I think Mbabazi may still get into this thing on the strength that he's the one who founded NRM. I think he has said that, but he's being pushed out of it. He has tried to be a loyal. He has not. He's basically been given no chance. So to count him out would not be politically smart.
Hussein, let Hussein come in here, because the legal process that's going on, you need to help us understand what this whole case is about. Unfortunately, we don't have someone from the Alipanga team to be able to help us put this into better perspective. But what is the issue about, and why has the NRM been working so hard to push Amama Mbabazi out?
The case which is in court is essentially, I don't want to sound legalistic, but it is challenging the resolutions that were made by the parliamentary caucus sitting at Changwanzi
in February last year.
It is challenging the implementation of the Honorable Seninde report, which was also a report of the parliamentary caucus. It is challenging the amendments that took place at Nambole.
The ones that
legislated Honorable Amama Mbabazi, Honorable Amelia Chambade, Singh Katongole, Dorothy Kiwa out of the Secretariat. So essentially it's around that. And then this application which we won last week was seeking an interim order, was seeking a stoppage to the approvals of the new appointees, the new Secretary General and her team. It was also seeking indeed to block discussion on the Seninde report. It was seeking to maintain the status quo. It presumed, that application presumed that the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi was still the Secretary General, which in fact wasn't. And so, when the application was heard, they needed to have convinced the judge, or the court for that matter, that one, they had a case that had a probability of success, and two, that if this injunction is not given, Benjamin Alipanga would fundamentally be hurt. It must be noted at this point that Alipanga is not a member of SEC, is not a member of NEC, is not a member of the National Conference. The decision
is a member of the party.
That we shall establish in the evidence, because right now we don't have that evidence. When you go to the petition, they will furnish us with that evidence. For now, I don't know whether he is, I don't know whether he's not. But he was saying, if the decisions that were taken by these three organs are implemented, I am going to suffer irreparable damage. And the judge said, I'm not convinced that you would suffer any damage that will not be atoned for. You know, in damages, supposing your petition was to be upheld or was to succeed. And so, we are there, and so the balance of convenience weighed in favor of the respondents, which is NRM, and the application was dismissed.
Chris.
And then the judge ordered, he directed that the main petition be fixed for hearing. What I found strange was that the lawyers for Alipanga instead were insisting that no, we want to appeal this application. We want to make a reference to a panel of 3 judges to hear it. To what end, I don't know.
Chris, those are legal gymnastics. There is a fundamental around this, which is the politics. And you have argued, you spent the last many years arguing the politics, the fundamentalism, I mean the fundamental of politics in these kinds of discussions. What happened in court, you were there, is legal gymnastics. At the core of it is the politics of it.
Yes, and I've always argued, some people think I'm trying to undermine the law. The practice of democracy is anchored on the rule of law. But you see, the rule of law does not exist where politics is unstable. So the point is, politics is superior to the law. The law takes an upper hand where politics has been stabilized. Stability of politics here we mean where there are established norms and ethos, accepted over time. They become a practice. So that when the law pronounces itself on deeds, it is within the existing ethos. In Uganda, we do not have established acceptable political practices. And for you to expect the law to create those ethos and the actors to obey those ethos is asking for too much. As of now, courts are incapable of resolving political issues in Uganda because political issues have not given birth to good ethos upon which the law can thrive. So Mbabazi's being in court is also just tactless.
Alipanga's being in court. We need to be accurate for the record.
They say Alipanga, they say
Chris
Mbabazi.
probably knows it's
obviously, I'm not a nursery kid. Real, I'm not too old, neither am I too
so
young.
it is the only
I have gone
Mbabazi.
to school, and you are talking about analysis.
Is
I
the
can
monitor.
conclusively say Alipanga is what you call a proxy.
But if it's the only Mbabazi, why did he have to wait for 1 year after
You
Chankwanzi?
don't need to choose how Mbabazi has to play his politics because you support Museveni. We must appreciate that. So do not dictate Mbabazi how we should act his politics. That's what I'm saying. Those are the ethos still lacking. We want to compel people to do as we want them to do. But we're different. So in this case, Honorable Mbabazi is being in court really is through proxies, through appendices, through what you call them.
But isn't that also a weakness if it is true?
That's what I'm saying. It is a wastage of time. Because he should have, first of all, his primary duty, Charles, should have been to help Uganda develop these ethos, these practices that enable courts to be courts. Instead, they have been stampeding courts. And courts cannot, no judge, however good he is going to be drawn into settling political disputes in an environment where there is no predictability of the outcomes. And so you may say in the US, the courts do this because over time, the US revolution, they have developed certain practices. It's now almost impossible for you to ignore the law in that country.
So Chris, let's put this into the analysis that helps our viewers be able to fit into the political the political dynamic as it is today and be able to plot themselves in the year running ahead. This is an electoral year.
Yes.
Parties will do their primaries. We will know who is running for president, who is running for member of parliament, who is running for LC, who is running for councillorship. And this is going, the analysis of the rest today helps our viewers position themselves or understand what is going on. The question is,
yes,
Mbabazi has taken this approach. We know the voting population in this country. We know Ugandans. Is it an approach that is likely to turn fortunes in his favor, especially given the amount of opposition that he might face should he decide to pick nomination forms?
Yeah, of course I have issues with this approach. But again, I've given a disclaimer that I do not want to claim to know how good this approach is. To my view,
for my thought,
his approach,
his
approach is weak. But if all this is strategy, this is what his strategy is.
Okay.
Mbabazi's strategy is to, I even told you in the first quarter, is to stretch NRM and Museveni to the limit. When this going to court is part of that stretching them. But when he's doing that, he is concentrating on who needs no strategy. He's not making a comment. At the same time, he has left his supporters to do the talking. He has left sections of the media to do the talking. He has left supporters of society to be the talking. In fact, he has recruited the opposition to do the talking for him. Has is mapping out an alliance with them, which is almost concluded that the opposition feeling so inferior and not trusting themselves have openly said Amama Mbabazi is the man.
Is that why they are absent from the discourse?
Completely.
No,
they think they are smarter. So they feel this is the man finally who will break Museveni's back. So Mbabazi is making that, consolidating that angle, backroom politics, while some of you supposed within the media talk, in supposed to start a talk, some of the political activists talk in his favor. You know, they say Mbabazi is a smart man, he's a very intelligent man. Even you said he's very intelligent, he's a hardworking man. Which I think even that is a very lame way of selling Mbabazi. Okay. Because why? Charles, Uganda is not having a shortage of intelligent people. Uganda has no shortage of hardworking people. Uganda has no shortage of smart people. Uganda has a shortage of good people. So if you cannot sell Mbabazi as a good man, then your campaign is very difficult. And there is a reason why you can't say Mbabazi is a good man. You must say he's intelligent, he's smart, he's hardworking. While Museveni, Charles, is trying to position, pretend all through himself as a good man. Now he's going to keep donating cars to the.
By the way, the president
is a good man.
His credit since
Mbabazi is smart, intelligent. Museveni comes, I'm a good man.
Since the year began, he's dumped those sometimes not very well fitting suits. He's dressed casually. He's freer than
a nice man.
Than he has been before.
The new rising sun.
So Mbabazi's approach of intellectuals.
Let me ask you the question. Why does there appear to be this so much panic from the camp of a man who's held the reins of power for the last 29 years?
First of all, Charles, there is no campaign in NRM to malign the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi. It's not there.
There is.
No, it's not there. There is no campaign.
But maybe you're not seeing it, but there is.
No, it's not. The media has created it, but it's not there. No. Let me say this. Honorable Amama Mbabazi is a member of NRM.
And you saw the article.
No, just a second.
You read the article Ofono Pondo wrote about Amama Mbabazi in the division of Tuesday.
Please put that to Ofono Pondo, but let me say this. He's a member of NRM. When we were registering NRM, I participated with the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi in making the NRM constitution. Under the NRM constitution, for you to be chairman and flag bearer, you will have to be approved by SEC and by NEC. And then you are presented to the National Conference and they vote. Now, unless you are telling me that Honorable Amama Mbabazi is going to come as an independent, how is he going to run this campaign that Obori and all these strategies you're talking about? How is he going to run? If he has been rejected by NEC to be a member of SEC, how is he going to be approved to be a candidate?
If you expanded if expanded your view outside of the NRM,
maybe if he runs as an independent
and is forced to run as an independent or align with the opposition, not because he didn't want the NRM, but because the NRM rejected him.
If Honorable Amama Mbabazi wanted to run as an independent, he would decline the president's nomination to be a member of SEC. But he did not decline it. He knew he was going to be even subjected to a vote. He did not refuse.
Why do you think?
Because he still wants to be in NRM. You guys are trying, the media is trying to create an Mbabazi outside NRM.
It doesn't sit in
No, look, the media informs and misinforms the public. But the man is a member of NRM. He has, in fact, the only thing he has said on record is that he is still in NRM and no one is going to push him out.
Is this political katemba you have created, you people in the NRM?
Which one?
The one about Amama Mbabazi and his perceived ambitions and the fight within the NRM.
No. What is factual is that there were activities of people perceived to be Honorable Mbabazi's supporters that were creating a problem in the party, and it had to be handled. That one, the president is even on record.
What has happened to those people? Are they still there?
No. Mbabazi is out. He's out of office.
And so the problem has been dealt with.
So the problem has been dealt with. What are we discussing?
Has the problem been dealt with?
Yeah, I think the problem has been dealt with because at least now the membership of the NRM across the country is aware of who is the real leader, and that is Yoweri Museveni. I think there was a bit of confusion, and that's what the president wanted to sort out in time. This is the election year, and you don't want power centers. So to me, I don't, of course, expect Mbabazi to run as NRM. He will try to run, either register his own political party or try to join one of the old parties or register as an independent. I think his main strategy is to collect enough reasons to say, I am a victim of a dictatorship, and I want us to fight this dictatorship.
And just before you take the break, because the studio is calling that we take the break, one quick question to you, Honor. Given Amama Mbabazi's deep involvement with what he would turn around and call, to play victimhood, given his deep involvement, is that a ticket that can fly him to possible victory? Because people are going to say, look who is talking. He made all this. He has claimed credit for it. Other people have claimed credit for it. Is that a strategy that can actually deliver?
Historically, people have tended to have very short memories, either deliberate or otherwise, when it comes to politics. You can become a turncoat, whatever people call you, but you'll be supported. I mean, this is happening across the world. People live, Sri Lanka has just had it. A man was a minister about only a month ago.
Now he has turned tables.
He turns tables against the president and he wins. So it's always possible.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will be broadening these discussions, include the return of David Sejusa. People are insisting on calling him David Tinyefuza. His refusal to meet the president initially, and then turning around and meeting the president the very next day. We'll be right back. Welcome to the last segment of the Fourth Estate, and we've been discussing putting the year 2015 into a political perspective. There wasn't much discussion about the opposition and its activities in the year 2014. There seems not to be a breakthrough for the opposition now. Even maybe subsequent shows will be having those discussions. Chris, you wanted to make a quick point, but I want you to tie that point you're going to make about the discussion about Museveni and the NRM and what has been going on. I mean, Mbabazi and the NRM and what has been going on, with the discussion about David Tinyefuza.
I have issues on Sejusa, but let me start with NRM. You see, even if President Museveni finally shows Mbabazi where he belongs, the differences in NRM, creating a healing in NRM, is going to be a very difficult task within NRM. And to me, that would be the thing preoccupying Museveni. And those who want to take over NRM leadership from Museveni, that they are terrible. That's the big problem for you. That to heal the differences, even those who have come to Museveni against Amama Mbabazi, may only be for convenience, that actually the balance of power shows that Museveni is still the man. Because the way Mbabazi is being sold is intelligent, is hardworking. If you talk about hard work in NRM, then the number one hard worker is Museveni. Without a doubt. No, but this, if you talk about anything, the difficulty in healing the NRM. What I'm saying, just a moment. Let me make a point quickly before you ask me something else. There's also a difficulty in selling Mbabazi himself. That's what I'm saying. Because the way he's being sold by those selling him is on the basis of his intelligence. And I told you, there's no shortage of intelligent people. The basis of his hard work. In NRM, they only tell you Museveni is a hard worker. He's a horse. Yes, he does it. He moves. He looks young every day. He's a boxer. But now, the contest between Mbabazi and Museveni should be, who's a good man? Because we are looking for good people. And Mbabazi's people are finding it difficult to bring goodness of Mbabazi to the fore. Because there will be questions.
You talk about the fissures.
What Museveni hold on is buying goodness.
Yes. Yes. You talk about the fissures within the NRM. Sejusa is a product of the NRM. He fought to bring this government to power, and he's a general. Beno Nuberaro is a product of this NRM. Kiza Besige is a product of this NRM. People talk about these fissures.
Even Chris.
Yes.
I was born in a UPC hospital, at Uturu Hospital. I don't know how you call me a product.
And you're wearing a red t-shirt.
No, this is just a color. But you told me I'm an NRM kid. You know, I've grown under NRM, yes. But not a NRM kid.
The question I'd like to run around the table is, people keep talking about these fissures, but they don't deal with what many of the people who disagree within the NRM, or those who have disagreed from outside, who is President Yoweri Museveni as the major problem, doesn't deal him in. 2001, Kiza Besige. Now it's 14 years later. Museveni is still in power, and by the look of things, because he appears to be winning the contest within the NRM over Amama Mbabazi, he's the favorite for 2016. To what effect does this
You see, Charles,
healing in the
I have
NRM?
had intense debate on this issue of Sejusa and NRM. First of all, you must appreciate that Sejusa occupies a very unique position in Museveni's life.
What is that unique position?
By the nature of their struggle, Sejusa played personal interventions in Museveni's struggle and his family that some of the political actors cannot claim. So while Sejusa may have
And
issues,
his family.
yeah, and Museveni's family.
He jailed him when they were still in the bush.
Which family are you
I
talking
have
about?
told you, if you follow these people, Sejusa was a policeman before he even went to the bush. So I've told you, there is a role Sejusa has played in Museveni's being in power and whatever, and they know that to the extent. But they are also aware this good person we have, these are his weaknesses. You know,
But
he's
it's
a
not
man who's unable to control his anger. And when his anger is reached somewhere, he begins talking like physics have affected him. And they have learned to accept...
They call it a spoiled brat.
Exactly. So they have learned to accept Sejusa the way he is. Now, the problem then for me are those who try to ascribe intentions, abilities of Sejusa to do this. It is not a fundamental difference. For them, they have studied him. They know this one, managing anger is a problem. So what do we do with him? Some have tried to counsel and got tired. Now they are saying, Muse, you deal with it, huh? So that's why Sejusa came. Actually, we have been speculating, how did he come? It was simple. Museveni, those people you call the young people, is Sejusa's sister-in-law. The other one was his ADC, the Katunji man, who arrested basically in Busega. So it was not just these young people. It was people within the family. What the family discussed with Museveni, we don't know. Some say he had begun selling his cows at home, keeping them abroad, and those are personal issues. Some actually say, so Sejusa is not known to manage any business. These are children who fought and they live off the state. Yes. Which business does he run?
So why was
He owns a farm out there. So when you begin surviving on your personal needs,
and how did they end up doing the meeting with Museveni?
that meeting, I've told you, after this builds the meeting, that he was there. He's selling cattle from his farm. And the family says, but he's locking himself in there. He's talking all this. We know why he's talking that. Maybe even if we get him back, he can even tell us now who is against us proper. So bring him home. And his coming slippery was, when he left, he antagonized some of the also inner people. He antagonized Muhoozi, you know. He antagonized General Kaihura. And these are people who are anchoring the president at the moment. And Museveni knows, if you announce you're coming from there here, don't ask me to restrain others whom you have annoyed. Shut up. Come quietly. Ronnie, go give him protection. Take him home. Once he's here, Kaihura or Muhoozi, I'm the commander-in-chief, they will say, Jambo, sir. So it was a perfect move by Museveni. It's only protect my spoiled brat. Bring him home and manage at home. Now for you are saying, oh, now you can fight Museveni.
What is this whole...
a man who has never survived on a business. You go off the stage.
What is this all drama about Sejusa?
What can you say?
First of all,
First of all, child of the revolution.
first of all, these are my parents. General Tinyefuza was our neighbor here in Kololo. I grew up seeing him.
And a freedom fighter like your father.
Like my father. He's the same person who in 1990 sent the late Kazini to our home to arrest my father. And then when my father managed to run out of the house, then he issued a message, the man should be shot on sight. And so it's personal for me, but beyond my personal, beyond my past, because I've forgiven him for whatever happened. Yes, I have. I have, in fact, when he ran out of this country, which is what he did to my father, because he made my father run away. So when he ran away, I posted both on my Twitter and Facebook page. Because of what I have gone through.
Because of him?
No, because of the actions that happened that led my father to run into exile and what happened to my family. I appealed to General Tinyefuza and said, please, just come back home. Just come back home. You are a lawyer. If there are any problems, you will go to court. They will take you to court martial. You can get a lawyer. I could even represent him And you get out of it. President Museveni is not a vicious man. General Tinyafuza had even no reason to run away. Absolutely.
I thought some of his missives tried to suggest
there
was ordering him.
No, there was nothing. There was nothing.
Including
there was nothing. I think what happened is the tap where money was coming in for his operations was reduced substantially.
I'm stretching it back.
That's why he ran.
There was a businessman.
Some of his actions, he is trying to suggest that those were orders from his commander-in-chief. And possibly even the actions against your father were orders from his commander-in-chief.
Charles, I am not a child of the revolution, but let me tell you what I gather.
But that's what he says. And General Tinyafuza in his position will say anything.
Okay.
And those who know
just information. If you want to know about Sejusa, to be honest, even picking me to go for a meeting in Entebbe, Museveni was safeguarding Sejusa. In his so-called anger, failure to manage his anger, he was actually angering his colleagues like he did to his father. Let me tell you, if Sejusa had continued talking like that here, and Museveni said the police shut up, Museveni was saying that my generals are not happy. I am telling you, Muhoozi would have dared his father and arrested Sejusa. General Kaihura would have gone bare knuckle. Because you know,
example to the officer called the APD.
You see, you cannot.
And Museveni improved that image by meeting him and treating him the way he
has. He has. Because there is a historical perspective to
it. He has safeguarded him
on a help us.
He's just saving him from
the corridors of State House to understand this.
I think for me, I really give President Museveni a lot of credit on matters of the military, because these countries' problems are inherently being of military control. We know what happened to Obote 1, what happened to Amin himself, what happened to Obote 2, whereby there was failure to control the army and failure to recognize these are individuals with families, with ambitions. President Museveni has studied all these people. He knows whether you actually want to overthrow him or you are just annoyed over something which can be sorted out. So being able to understand Sejusa from time to time and calming him down is, I think, the challenge the country has to deal with in the future. When you become president, how can you calm down people who are armed when they get hyperactive?
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question and help me understand, because I pick this information.
Yeah.
Maybe Muhoozi will help because you're a child of the revolution.
I'm not Muhoozi.
That's your generation. When I see you, I see your generation. That is, I don't know how shall put us. I'm told your general, some of your generals actually, they also engage in this thing called weed. And I'm told their bodyguards, whenever they take weed, bodyguards say, I found my panda and dege. So have you heard of that? That also in that those high-ranking officials, some of them actually swallow prohibited drugs.
Are you asking the question that General Tinyafuza?
No, I am saying
prohibited drugs.
I hear some generals.
Because I like to be. I
am not a lawyer.
No, Chris. Yes. The number of generals can be counted off one arm of a finger.
Yes. How many?
I mean, what?
General Museveni, General Tumine, General Saleh, General Tinyafuza, General Katumba, and General Kaihura.
I'm told among those generals, there are some who take weed, and when they take weed, they behave in a different way, and the askari say, leo muzee amepanda ndege, and they begin to calling them, and they shake when they go. After the ndege has come down, and the general is okay.
So you are saying this is what happened to General Tinyafuza?
I'm asking, is it true there are some generals?
Charles has to ask the question.
No, I have no information to that, but I highly doubt, because first of all, to be able to command an army, I have not been a general. I believe you must be sober most of the time. The soberness of our generals. Yeah, I believe they are decent people.
I just want,
but they're also human. They have their interests. But the fact that the president has been able to differentiate from who is a threat and who is just annoyed for the moment is quite a big strength on his part, because we know that coups have not ended in the world. And people who are armed, you cannot claim.
There was one they attempted in
Gambia.
In Gambia the other day, and Jammeh.
Yeah, looks like Jammeh organized it, so he was able to.
They say he's a doctor, but not a qualified one. So
and you see, by the way, opposition is unanimously agreeing we need Sejusa. But I've always kept my voice very clear. that nobody should stop Sejusa from opposing Museveni if he so wishes, and if people will believe he's opposing. But for me, there is collective accountability and there is individual accountability.
Okay.
You cannot wish away the massacres in Lango, Choli, West Nile, Teso, because someone today is opposing Museveni. Museveni has to answer for his part, but each commander must answer for their part.
Okay.
And that for me alone makes Sejusa a nobody. I don't care whether he comes today to shoot me or not. I need accountability for the poor souls that I witnessed.
Yes,
Charles, for me, my problem is I have been praying and talking to whoever I meet who matters, asking that they allow people like General Tinyefuza to come home, Colonel Samson Mande. I would like them to all come home and we stay in our country. But the problem that I have is for some people who are, in fact, even in my own generation, who are trying to portray General Tinyefuza like an alternative to the current leadership we have. How can anyone do that? He has abused all the principles, everything, every law on the statute book has been violated by one man.
There are people who believe him. There are people, and he hasn't been tried.
But they are saying he violated that in collaboration with the one you support.
Bring the evidence. Bring the evidence. But impunity
as a lawyer.
But General Tinyefuza can't be Charles. General Tinyefuza can't be the person to come and talk about impunity.
I agree with you a million times.
He can't be.
Tinyefuza, if you are listening and watching,
you are a lawyer.
The question is to answer.
And you said, in respect to the person you support, you need evidence on the table.
Yes.
In respect to Tinyefuza, you also need evidence on the table.
I have evidence.
And he needs to be taken through a process that proves your evidence.
Hold on, Charles, I give you evidence. People are alive. In northern Uganda, Tinyefuza ordered a truck of sticks, canes, driven to a barracks, arrested Muzei Tiberio Okeng, arrested the Omara Tubo, arrested the
Who was his
Zakarolum, and ordered for their caning while he was brushing teeth, washing, packed them in a truck, put them in Luzira. Owini Dolo, Justice today of the High Court of Uganda, was a practicing lawyer like my brother Kashilingi today, fought for their freedom, released without a charge. You can't tell me Tinyefuza has no case. Owini Dolo, who was a lawyer, can testify.
Someone is going to ask at the risk of...
until he says that I ordered for a truck of sticks, and I ordered for the caning, and I was told to watch them while brushing teeth or sitting with a woman by Museveni. I hold him accountable for that action alone. And until before you cross to test alone,
Chris, and at the risk of appearing to defend Tinyefuza,
you are free to defend him.
Yes, until Museveni says I did not order Tinyefuza or I sanctioned him for his actions. Because if you are in a structure like a military, where command is important, if you do something wrong, your superior sanctions you.
Tinyefuza, when in London, was quoting to you the media how he had collected evidence against General Kaihura, taken to ICC, because Kaihura has committed atrocities. Why did he say Kaihura is under command? What evidence did he have?
Okay.
Don't join this conflict of these generals. Each of them must bear their own burden. The burden of Northern War that got to rest on Katumba Wamala, who was also a soldier. It doesn't rest on Aronda, who was a commander. In fact, the Northerners, when Muhezi is also, I think, a Muhima like Tinyefuza. When Museveni was removing Muhezi from the North was saying, no, we want our Muhezi. But the same North are saying, Tinyefuza, apana. That means... But let me...
Let me give you a little... Hold it, gentlemen. Hold it.
There is no collective criminal guilt.
Exactly.
When you commit a crime, you are punished individually.
And
secondly, there is no defense of superior orders.
There is nobody in this studio to speak in defense of General Sejusa, and for as long as there is no person to speak in his defense, this discussion is going to... Yes, in fairness, he needs to also make his case.
That's fine as a moderator, you are talking the right thing, but we're always speaking our views.
Gentlemen,
and my view on Sejusa, we should shut up. Gentlemen, there are still ghosts left in Northern Uganda.
We promised our viewers... We promised our viewers. Hold it, Honor.
People like the Muhezi. Why?
Hold it,
there. Why?
We promised our viewers that we'll be putting 2015 in perspective. Can I start with you, Chris? 2015, what are we supposed to be looking out for on the political landscape?
NRM comedy. You are going to see a comedy increase and become very expensive. Yes, and Amama Mbabazi campaigners are slowly going to begin smuggling them to Museveni, asking Museveni, what about me? Omodo has got his.
We hosted him on the show here.
Omodo now, who was here very vibrant, like angry lion, democracy in our party. He was enjoying Muze's very kind kisos, and he was behind.
What they call the
and he was saying, watch me, I'm here now. Many of them are going to do that and leave members alone in the cold.
That car has central control. I believe the driver must have put the glass down for him.
He must have asked that police to put it down, and he was well. Now he's seated, arguing like a rabid man. Now he's back there.
What about the opposition? How does it behave?
Opposition?
Yes.
To be honest, opposition has accepted that without anybody in NRM, they are weak.
Okay. Hussein, your perspective of the political landscape 2015, what should we look out for?
I think
make your predictions.
President Museveni is going to be stronger. He's going to consolidate his power base the more, but there will be a bit of a problem with the youth. The youth, this group which is below 35, is creating a problem for the president and for NRM, and we need to rein in on them because they seem to be moving at a speed and with no direction, and trying to hold everybody at ransom. There will be a bit of a problem for
I'm worried when you use the word rein in.
Oh, convince.
Yes.
And
Yes, because even when they want to offer,
you have only recently
even when
that age group.
Yeah, even when they want to offer leadership, they must be guided.
You don't need war. You don't need force.
Set for us.
Yeah, look, it's going to be so exciting as it was almost the old year. The new year will be equally exciting, and that's why when many people say, "Are you going back?" I won't be going back because I can't fit in that field of hyper exciting.
Unless there is a coup, will pass
gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Unless there is a coup, Museveni will win by above 70. Overwhelming.
We are looking at 80.
I had issues with those numbers because I need to look at the percentages. Rather, I need to look at the numbers. When I've looked at the numbers, I haven't looked
as a journalist.
I'm just saying, I haven't looked as rosy. Thank you very much to you all, gentlemen, for joining us on this maiden show.
What can we do also? You have a law firm. How do we benefit?
Can I make you a little bit more discreet?
For your own good.
No.
For your good.
I know for my good.
If he has a law firm,
yes,
he will be given instructions to go to court. And as the politics comes, he empowers himself. What about you?
Hold it. We'll discuss that in another show. I am a journalist, so I have to practice. Thank you very much to all our viewers for joining us, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.